judged. It's just like, it's just blows my mind away because the reasoning is just. So anyway, that's what I've been doing while I've, trying to find joy in the moment of having to lay in bed. Like I said, I sit up as often as possible, usually every hour. If I go to switch from this side to that side, I sit up first, I stand up, and then I reposition myself. Standing up is a little harder because the doctor doesn't want me to bear any weight on my right leg. So standing up and then trying to pivot on my left leg is takes a little effort, but that's not so bad. And then if I'm going to lay on this side, then I stand up and I just sit back down and lay on this side. That's different. But when I go to lay on the other side, I do like this whole pivot thing. But yeah, I mean, otherwise it's good. I mean, I get bored sometimes, so I play cards. I told you I do logic puzzles. There's an app for logic puzzles, like a free app. You get logic puzzles. There's actually a few of them, but I have one that I prefer. I try to connect to friends, but both my besties went back to work this week full time, so they're not available during the day as much. So I've been bugging my one sister who's available because my other sister's on a vacation. So yeah, it's just what can I do with my time type of situation. At times, most of the time I have something to do, but then there comes this times where it's like lull. Now my new dose of medication is making me a little sleepy. When I first started taking it, it made me tired, but I actually think what it did was, to be honest with you, I know that it said drowsiness and dizziness is a side effect. However, I'm not really sure after taking it for 2-3 days that the drowsiness was from the medication as opposed to the first day I was exhausted and the medicine was finally letting me catch up on my sleep. And I think that's really what it was. I not that I was drowsy, I was exhausted. And I just kept falling back to sleep whenever I got comfortable, which was more often. And I was able to sleep without the pain waking me up, which I loved. The reason I say that is because since then, it hasn't made me drowsy. It hasn't made me drowsy over the course of the next couple of days. So that's good. And the dizziness, though, I have had a couple of episodes just really laying here or rolling over. But when I first started the medication, like the first dose, I was like, that can't be the first dose that's making me dizzy. I don't even know that it's actually released from my body because it's in a capsule. I was like, I don't even know if it made to my digestive system yet. But I actually looked up that pain can make you dizzy. And that's really what it is. Whenever I would move, I would get really dizzy. Obviously, the pain would hurt when you move. I told you it hurts when I move or reposition. Sometimes it just hurts after a while of sitting here, so I have to reposition, and then it hurts more. But when I do a major reposition, so I go from one side to the next, that's really when it hurts. And if I go to the bathroom and come back, that's really when it hurts. So sometimes I'll lay in the bed and I'll just get like dizzy. So that could be from the medication, but that started the first time I put like a pill in my mouth. So I want you to know, and I've said this before, I'm not the kind of person who reads the side effects and then takes the medication. I start to have what I think are side effects that I look to see if it's from the medication. I try to correlate it, but this was weird. That's why I looked up about pain first. And it says, yeah, severe pain can cause everything. It causes dizziness, it causes nausea, it can cause anxiety, it can, like, all of these things that ran through. I was like, oh, wow. I mean, I guess I kind of always knew that because you see people like pass out from pain. But I was like, okay. And then, of course, I'm not eating. I'm still taking my diabetes medicine, but I'm not really eating a lot at times. So, and then I was like, maybe I just have to eat something. Like, I also have been getting a little pit of nausea, but I'm not 100% sure that that's not hunger. You know, I'm not. I could be the food laying there and that's what's making me ick, or it could be hunger, you know. So I've been trying to make sure that I eat a little bit more. I have a bag of Quest chips and I had a protein bar yesterday, and I ate the protein bar over the course of 12 hours. Like, it took me 12 hours to eat a protein bar because if I eat a whole thing once, it feels like it just lays there, you know? And the same thing with the chips. I would like do a little sweet and a little salty because the protein bars are usually very sweet. So I do like a couple of Quest chips and then like a bite of the protein bar or a section that big or whatever. And then I put them in the Ziploc bag and just like hang out and wait and blah, 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 blah. I don't say blah, blah, blah. We weighed me yesterday. My weight's down to 332, which is good. I mentioned I need to be 260 to get the hip replacement. But I think that's even on the back burner because of the knee. I don't think they'll replace my hip with all these knee problems. So we'll have to see what's going on with the knee first. So, but I'm glad I lost enough weight to get the MRI here in Rolla, which is great. Let's see. What else? How did we get back to talking about medical stuff, Jerry? You said you weren't going to do that today. Duh. Okay, let's tell you what I'm really sad about. I haven't been able to wear any of my summer clothes because I'm stuck in bed. And I don't want to ruin any of my clothes. I can't go anywhere. It's funny because I want to do so much. And this has been like almost all last year too. I just have all these desires to create and make things. And then my eyes or my arthritis or my body will break down on me. And it's like so frustrating because I just want to be able to do, you know. It's so hard. It's just so hard. And it's like, now it's at the point where I'm like, okay, so before I hurt my hip, I was like, oh, my office. We got to do my office. So it started like, we started to tear apart the office. So it's like, oh, it's a little bit of a mess and organized, whatever, because this is here and that's there. And it's the last room that we're making over. It's not the last room we're purging because we still have to purge the stuff from the kitchen, but we're not really making over the kitchen. We just have to purge all the stuff. But it's just like, oh, I just want to get it done and be in there and have it be productive and be able to roll around on the floor on the chair and not hurt myself more and just so many things. I just want just to get it going. I just want to get it going. It's just frustrating. I know. I know. Sorry. Oh, boy. How are you all doing during this time? I hope everybody's staying safe. I do feel really bad about those of you who have kids and grandkids that are going back to school with all these crazy rules. Different states have all these crazy rules about, like, how masks and vaccines ever got politicized is beyond me. It's beyond me. If somebody said to you, hey, there's a killer virus running rampant through the world, I would have been like, where is the medicine for it? And you guys know I took a while getting my vaccine, but that was really because of Jim. Like, I was waiting to be able to get it with Jim because I wasn't going to get vaccinated and kiss my husband every day and, you know, figure out, like, I don't know. I just was afraid, not afraid. I didn't want to get it without him. He was still out working out in the community and stuff. So as soon as our number came up, we were like, yep. As soon as he was ready to go, I was like, yep, okay. Now some people said their states if you have if you had an immunocompromised person, like your spouse, then you were able to get the vaccine too, to protect them. But this wasn't one of those states. We didn't have that law here. So I do feel really bad for those states. Now, Missouri is one of the states that has really high numbers too. because there's a lot of people who politicize a lot of things here, you know. I walked in after getting my second dose of vaccine. I was walking out of Walmart and a couple came in and they grabbed some disposable masks. And I had my mask on, obviously, and they said, thank you. And I said, thank you for that. And they're like, we're vaccinated, but we still wear masks. I said, I know, me too. And they were like, yay, congratulations. They were like clapping that I got vaccinated. It was so sweet. But it's just like, I think I hear the reasons, and the reasons just don't make any sense to me. Like why you don't want to get vaccinated. Now, granted, I am a different age than, obviously, I'm a Gen Xer, but I'm like a 1970s Gen Xer. So I kind of fall closer towards the older part of Gen X. I had a great aunt, my grandmother, who lived with me till I was 12. Her sister had polio. Had braces. We have pictures of her with her little knee braces on. She had polio. It was so rough and so hard. And my sister had rubella. I think she had rubella. And, you know, this was, and it was, it was hard on her. Like, it was difficult to watch. And we all had chicken pox, and it's not fun. And when these things are now, like, we have vaccines for them, why, in God's name, wouldn't you get vaccinated? You know, it's like, what? Nonsense. I know some people have reactions to them, of course, but you don't know that until you do it. So you can't live your life like, oh, I'm never going to drive because I might get into a car accident. That's literally what not getting a vaccine is. You know, the only way to avoid getting into a car accident is never getting into a car. The only way to avoid having a reaction to a vaccine is to never get vaccinated. But what's the alternative, right? You can still get hit by a car, and you can still get hit by the measles or the smallpox. I mean, it's just so. And then the argument about the vaccine being rushed. That's just such nonsense. Like, nobody wants to read or educate themselves. The vaccine wasn't rushed. They were working on this type of vaccine for over 20 years. They've been working on this particular coronavirus vaccine, not COVID-19, but the coronavirus that was SARS and MERS, over 10 years specifically. But what had happened, it wasn't rushed. However, it was expedited. There's a difference. One is, when you're working on a vaccine over 20 years, you have to wait for funding, you have to do your research, you have to do this, that, and you have to do trials and all that stuff. But this was literally the private and public, the government and the private sector came together and said, drop absolutely everything that you're doing. We want everyone working on this. And it's sort of like, well, many hands make light work, but, you know, you go to a giant mechanic, and your mechanic has like 100 bays and 100 employees. And that's a lot, but say 20 bays and 40 employees, two per bay. And they're each working on their own car. Like, they're each working on their own project. And then the president's limousine comes in. So random, but the boss says, everybody stop what you're doing, and everybody's going to come work on the president's limousine. Of course, the president's limousine is going to get finished in no time, because there's many hands working on it. And that's literally how the vaccine got out so fast. That's how the vaccine got out so fast. They dropped everything else they were doing. If they were working on cancer research, if they were working on kidney, whatever they were working on, everybody was asked to drop everything they were doing, and all of the money and focus and attention was put onto finding a vaccine to prevent people from dying from this virus. And it's so weird to me how just in the United States it's become politicized. It's not weird to me. I see how it happened. I do see how it happened. But it's so weird. I just assumed when us being like the greatest nation in the world, and I'm doing air quotes because that's what people say. We're the greatest nation in the world. And we're so smart compared to third world countries and all these things. Like, we have all this information and technology and all that stuff, but we're making decisions based on not reading or not looking it up, just taking someone's word for it. And it's so weird to me. Like, that to me is so weird. There was this whole thing going around with this girl. She was like, she was acting like there was a magnet in her coronavirus vaccine because she was sticking a key to her arm. Well, first of all, keys are brass most of the time and aren't magnetic. Just saying. But when all you have to do is wet the key and it'll stick to you. Like, you know, if you do like that, the quarter will stick on your forehead. So, like, she literally went out of her way to do this, to convince people, like, what? Type of thing, you know? I just like, what? And it's funny because I hear a lot of comedians now, like, if the government wanted to track you, they would do it on your phone and social media. They don't spend all this time implanting chips in you. It's crazy. It's so crazy. But it is what it is, you know? Like, people want to believe what they want to believe, but I feel like it come to the point where it's like to the detriment of others, you know? We talk about that we're a Christian nation. A lot of people talk about that we're a Christian nation. I don't believe that. I believe we were founded for religious freedom, but I'm a Christian, so it's okay. I'm just like, I choose to be a Christian, and for me, that's the only way. But for other people, there's other ways. That's their choice. It's their choice. It's the world's freedom. You're free to choose what you want to believe. And it's kind of rude and obnoxious for me to tell you you have to live your life by my standards. Yeah, it's kind of what happens in the comments sometimes. I don't live my life by other people's standards. I don't put on a face of makeup and get dressed and do my hair every day. I don't work outside of the home. I talk about all the things that are raw and real. This is me. Like, this is my life. I don't have to live my life by your standards. And it's weird to think that we make everybody in the country do that. You know, for me, the Bible, the rules that are in the Bible are my rules. They're rules that govern me. They're rules that I live by. But they're not for me to force on you. That's not your rules. Like, if you're a agnostic or an atheist or a Jew or a Muslim or a Wiccan, my rules are not for you. Like, that's the part that I have trouble wrapping my head around. So we're supposed to be a Christian nation, and we're supposed to watch out for each other. Like, Jesus is ultimate. It's called the Great Commandment, is treat others as you treat me, or treat others as you treat yourself, depending on which version you reach. But basically, Jesus said, treat others as you would treat me. Jesus wants us to treat strangers like they were Jesus. And there's songs about it. Would you really not want to protect Jesus from a killer virus? Right? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And he talks about caring for the least of these. And now we're at the point where children are being affected because so many people didn't want to get vaccinated now that the virus has mutated into different variants. Because it was like, hey, the virus learns. Viruses learn. That's why we have a different flu variant like every year, because they learn. They're like, ooh, they vaccinated against me. Let's get Johnny in on the game. And Johnny is like, yeah, I'm gonna get everybody this year. And the people who are vaccinated may get like but the people who weren't get like really sick. And then they make like Johnny grows, and then they make a vaccine for Johnny. Johnny flu virus Johnny, that's what we'll call him. And then not everybody gets vaccinated. So those people who catch the flu job, they then get, oh, Kevin on the job. Okay, Kevin, come on. That's how it works. Like, that's literally how it works. So now that there's this variant that affects children, and children are on respirators, and babies are in hospitals on respirators, it just, to me, it blows my mind. But, okay, if you want to politicize it, that's fine. You don't want to get your vaccine because whatever other political party is telling you that they're trying to control you with their vaccine. I get that. But it's now at the point where it's not just about you. It really has never been about just you. But truly, when kids don't have a choice, kids aren't political, kids don't have a side yet, babies don't have a political view, what is holding up now? Like, this is the part that I'm so confused about. This is the part that I'm so confused about. And then there's people on who still are spewing false information, trying to get people to understand or to think differently about the facts. Because there's one study that says this. Well, there's 95 studies that say the other thing. Yes, there is one study that has it, but okay, but what is their platform, their research? You have to really delve into, you really have to educate yourself, and not just one news source, not just one Google search, multiple. Look for the credentials, look for, hey, we've talked about this before. If you like to watch the news, only broadcast news in America has to tell the truth. I think I mentioned this before. Only broadcast news, which is like ABC, CBS, NBC. I think the affiliates like WB and CW, and I think those are broadcast also. They go under the blanket. But only broadcast news, which is the free TV that you can get over the airways, has to tell the truth. They're governed by the FCC, and they're not allowed to spread false information. Any other news source is open to interpretation or to rhetoric or to tell whatever they want and make it fact. So just keep that in mind. If I feel like if I hear it somewhere and I'm like, I'll go to like cbsnews.com or I'll go to like abcnews.com and I will look, because they're held to that standard of they have to tell the truth. Now, do they have to tell all of the news? No. I mean, honestly, there is that sort of, not bias necessarily, but there is that sort of take on it. They have to be impartial. They try to be as fair as possible. But, there is stuff that you're like, we don't know that we want to give attention to this information or whatever. So some people could say that that's biased too, but really they're the only ones required to tell, by law, to tell the truth. So I always try to look, if I hear some nonsense information, I'll go look onto a broadcast news network and see what their take is on it. And a lot of times I just go to the source, CDC, so-and-so reports that the CDC said this. I'm like, well, go to the CDC's website. All that information's free. You can just read it. And I do. But I've mentioned this before. We wear masks not to protect ourselves, to protect others. If we're vaccinated, we still want to protect others. Because as vaccinated people, and I'll tell you, I currently know 5 people. I think I know 5 people who are vaccinated who are carrying coronavirus, who have coronavirus. They, one has what seems like almost like a head cold. One has no symptoms whatsoever, but was tested because they lived in the house, so they all got tested. And then there's sorry, I just felt like something was wrong with my ring there for a second. Sorry. And then some just you just don't know, what are you doing? They just had a crappy first day and then we're fine the rest.
Here's your reminder. Take my Motrin. Here's your reminder. Take my Motrin.
My Motrin is PRN for pain, which PRN means as needed. So I'm not going to take it just yet because I'm okay. I'm going to wait. But even vaccinated people can carry the virus and spread it to others. So that's why we wear a mask, so we don't spread the disease to others. The masks aren't really meant to prevent us from getting it, but they're really to prevent others from, they do help prevent us from getting it, but they're meant to help us from spreading it. So it's like, even if you have a vaccine, why do you wear a mask? Yeah, that's why. That's why. You can still get it. You can still get the variant and get sick. You could still pass it on to others if you're vaccinated. You know, I watch all these like giant events that you only can get into if you're vaccinated, but that doesn't really mean anything because you can still carry, you know, getting a negative test is better to me than getting a vaccine card. But even the negative tests are like, because the good tests aren't rapid tests. The good tests are the tests that take 3 days. But in that 3 days, you could have been infected. So unless you take the test, come home, isolate yourself for 3 days until you get the results, put on your mask, and then go. That's it. Like, that's the only reassurance I have. Excuse me. So it's just is what it is. I feel like really scared for the people who have to go to work without masks on, and who are going to work without masks on, or who aren't mandated they go to work when other people don't have masks on. It just really worries me. It obviously worries me for kids, because kids don't deserve this. Like, kids aren't political. They don't deserve to be sick. And obviously babies aren't even eligible. Anybody under 12 isn't even eligible for a vaccine yet. I was talking to a friend who has like very, very waifish children, teenagers who got the vaccine, and both had like sort of reactions to it. And I said, yeah, because it's not really one size fits all. Vaccines are just like medicine. You know, sometimes, you know, that 3 cc's spreads throughout your whole body. But when your whole body is half the size of my whole body, you're probably going to spread differently. So I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. It was just a conversation we were having. But even they were so grateful to get it. So I think that the biggest thing that really blows my mind about it is that people here are offered free vaccines and are refusing to get them. And there are people all over the world who just can't get them, who want them so bad, who still have to isolate themselves, who still have to self-quarantine, who still have to be on lockdown because they don't have enough vaccines. And we are just like throwing them in the garbage. And I know we're not throwing them in the garbage. I didn't mean that literally, but you understand what I'm saying. It's just, to me, ridiculous. I mean, I'm 50. I've been voting in elections for over 30 years. So I'm not new to this political game. But the political game has changed quite a lot. Quite a lot in the last 10 years. 15 maybe. It's just kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. Oh. Anyway, so be careful out there. That was really what it was all about. I know that there's new variants coming every day because, again, unvaccinated people sharing their germs make things change and advance and that kind of thing. So please be careful out there. Continue to wear your mask. Continue to wash your hands. Continue to wipe down things that you're not sure of. The new Delta variant is much more contagious. It is, I think it's faster acting. I believe that's what I heard. Like, your onset from being exposed to being symptomatic, I think, is shorter. And I'm not 100% sure on that fact, but I heard that a few times. I haven't researched it though. So just keep in mind. I do know that it is more contagious. I heard that, but I mean, I read that that's true information. The fact that it's quicker incubation time, I don't think is the right word, but so please, 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 please mask your babies, please. Whether or not your school tells you you can or cannot. I know that a lot of people think like it's horrible. And one lady on the news she was at a town hall meeting, was like, I want the teacher to see my baby's beautiful face. But to what cost? Like, I mean, your baby's probably beautiful. Your little daughter's probably gorgeous. But you're not teaching her to hide her face because she's not pretty. You're teaching her to cover her mouth to not spread germs. Hopefully you're teaching her that already. See, I feel like by 1st grade, 2nd grade, you should already know to cover your mouth when you sneeze and cover your mouth when you cough. And putting on a mask is covering your mouth when you cough and sneeze and breathe. That's it. Just cover your mouth when you breathe. I just hope everybody is, again, stay safe. I love you guys. I want you to find joy in whatever misery you're finding yourself in on a daily basis. And even if you have to find joy every moment or set an alarm for every 5 minutes to think of something joyful, do it, because it really does. And it increases your endorphins. It sets your serotonin levels up. And it really does help you. It really does help you heal. So I wanted to give you that encouragement today. All right. And as always, you guys take care. God bless. I'll see you next time. Bye.